Here's a video on how to replace a battery inside the Samsung Galaxy Buds. So this is a battery for the buds itself, not the case. First, you'll remove all the tips and wings. Then when you look at the bud itself, you'll see that it's in two halves and there's our arrows pointing at where the two parts splits. Okay, so put the bud inside like a clamp or a vise and apply very slight pressure to it on the long side. The gap will widen up. Take your pry tool, guitar pick, work your way into it, and two sides should just pop open. So once you remove the cover, you'll find this connector that's connecting the case to a core. You just pry up on it and the connector will disconnect. Once that's disconnected, the core will simply just pull out. Once you pull out the core, on the back side there's like a plastic protecting casing. All you have to do is pry up on it and it'll pop right off. Okay, then what you're left with is a battery that's inside a plastic housing that is sandwiched between two PCBs. And so the PCB is just being held down by double-sided tape. So all you have to do is take your pry tool or guitar pick, work your way in under the PCB, and once you pry up on that PCB, you should see that it's just being held in by tape or double-sided tape. And then lift it up. It's connected to the other side through like a ribbon cable. Lift that. That's not glued down or anything. Just lift it up, and then go to the other side and do the same thing. Lift up on the other side of the PCB. And so the PCB like sandwich will come off. And now you'll see that there's like a battery encased in a plastic housing. On the side where there looks like there's some black tape on it, that side has like a retaining clip on the battery, so you'll have to lift up on that and the retaining clip will come off. And just like with the PCB, this retaining clip is also mainly held in using double-sided tape, so just pry on it a bit and it should pop off. Now here you'll see the battery is inside and the battery is kind of taped down or glued down to the plastic casing with some double-sided tape, so just push from the other side. So once you have the battery removed, you can take a look at the battery specs that's etched onto a battery. Basically, the battery should be CP1254, so that would be 12 millimeters in diameter and 5.4 millimeters in height, and it should be 3.7 volts. Now the CP in the front, that's just like a model number for the Verta brand of batteries. It could be a LIR, CP, doesn't really matter, and the A3 would be just a revision. There's also a A4 version, same thing. All you really care about is that the battery itself has to be 1254 spec and it's a 3.4 volt battery. So you could also replace it with a Z55 from Zenni-Power, same thing, it's just slightly cheaper than the 1254s. Now, regardless of which one you're buying, some of them will have like wires welded onto the battery or whatever. Just pay attention when you buy the batteries. You want to buy like a naked battery. You don't want ones that have wires welded onto it, because that will be very difficult to remove. On the screen, I've listed out all the models that I know are compatible with the Galaxy Buds. Now, the thing is, the Galaxy Buds is not really a popular earphone, so you might have difficulty finding Galaxy Bud batteries. You could also search for Sony XM3s. They share the same spec battery, so anything that would also fit in XM3 would also fit in a Galaxy. Okay, so you'll see that on your original battery that there's like plastic tape that is used to protect your PCB from shorting on the battery, and it also holds your battery in place inside the housing. You can choose not to transfer those tape over to your new battery, but I do recommend that you do. So here you see that I'm transferring the tape to a new battery directly and kind of guessing where it should go. This is a much more difficult method of doing this. The easier method is to put the battery into a plastic casing first. Then you get a very clear visual indication of where these tapes should go, because basically the tape goes where the plastic housing have openings. So here you see I'm kind of slightly off because I was guessing where the position should be, but it doesn't have to be super exact. It just needs to be there to protect it from shorting and holding the battery in position. Once the battery is in the casing, all you have to do is do the reverse of what you did to take it apart. Put the clip back in first. So once the clip is in, you'll take your PCB and you'll wrap it around the casing. On the PCB, one side of PCB will have a hole, and that hole will match up with the extrusion that is on the clip that holds the battery in. So it's easier to do this side first. Okay, so just line up the hole with the extrusion that sticks out, and then press down. If the tape still is, if your double-sided tape is still sticky, it should hold itself. Then just wrap the PCB around the battery. Once you have that done, you'll take the protective piece. This piece will go on the side that has the water damage indicator, which is also the side that has the PCB that has a hole. And so you'll see that on this protective piece, there's like a very large cutout. That very large cutout will line up with the water damage indicator. As you can see here, this cutout is for that water damage indicator. Then the side with the water damage indicator will go down into the housing that has the speaker driver. And you want to make sure that where there is a connector that matches up on top so that you can connect the connector on the top once you've inserted the cord into the external housing. Then the other side, you basically just snap it back into position. And so this is how you change your battery on the Galaxy Earbuds. It's not difficult. It's actually very, very simple. So some tips. First is when you try to open the case with your plier or your vise, put some kind of like cloth, something soft in between to protect your casing, because the casing is quite soft and you can see that it is slightly damaged here. And the other thing would be the tape. When you're transferring from the old battery to a new battery, put the battery into the casing before you try to transfer the tape.